Hi everybody, welcome back. I had so much fun making those Jeep taillight housings and lenses and all that and getting it mounted and tested, and I enjoyed that and how it turned out so much. I thought before summer hits and I cover it up and call it good till it cools off again, let's get one more Jeep project in before that happens. So I thought, let's do the front turn signals. So this is one of the front turn signals off my 80 Jeep CJ7. Take the screws out. It's pretty simple. It's going to be way easier than the backs because a couple things. One, the body is made out of metal, unlike the tail lights, which is the rear tail lights, which is plastic. The front lights, the body is metal and it's in good shape. Again, it still has the amber filament bulbs in it. I've got some amber LED bulbs coming. And the wiring and the connector is in good shape. Of all four corners, it was only that left rear corner that was all corroded out. And I can't help but think, because it was that steel license plate mount, that rusted, and the rust from that ran down the wiring, got up onto the bulb mounts, and just wrecked everything. Anyway, so my wiring's in good shape, my housing's in good shape. All I need to do is make one of these, and this isn't in bad shape. I mean, it's not cracked or broken, but it's just scratched up and yellowed and kind of looks like dog crap. In other words, it fits in with the rest of the Jeep really well. But then again, we're going back with a diamond and a you-know-what for this. So, and some of you guys really love that expression, but because of the way some of you took it, I think I won't keep repeating it. But nonetheless, we're going to make this, and I think I'm going to make this out of the Solutech Clear ABS. I thought about using a white bulb and making this out of an orange, transparent orange. Then I thought, you know, when I paint this Jeep, I'm going to paint it a kind of I don't know what you call it, a light coyote brown type of thing. And I'm not sure how good the orange lens would look on that. So I'm going to stick with the clear ABS. Let's go over to Fusion and let's design this up. Again, I may show you the whole design process. And it's just a bunch of circles, just like the grommet was. So let's go over to Fusion and let's get this designed up, and then we'll print it and we'll see what we got. Okay, we're over in Fusion 360 now. And if you are an absolute beginner to Fusion 360, you probably want to go look at a video that shows you how to get it installed, how to set some of the basic settings and things like that. I'm not going to go over that in this video. If anybody watches my video and wants me to make another one of those, let me know and I'll do it. But for right now, we're going to start with my adding in some parameters. So I went to Modify and change parameters, and I added in diameter OD, diameter ID, thickness wall, groove, screw hole, screw head, screw spacing, and height from body. I don't even know that I'm going to use all these. I just like to have some in there just to get me started. So it keeps me from measuring things as I'm going along and get that out of the way to begin with. At least, hopefully, most of it. So with those added in, as I mentioned before, this is just a series of circles and extrusions, so it should be pretty simple, at least to get a working first copy, a proof of concept, if you will. Now, if you noticed from the pictures from the video, the intro video, the original one is domed. And the problem with it being domed is I'm going to have support. I'm either going to have to dome it out a ridiculous degree, and it's going to look, well, let's not discuss what it might look like, or I'm going to have to add support no matter how I print it. I like to avoid support. I want to print this face down because that means that the part that's against the print bed, the part that's going to look the nicest, will be nice and smooth and flat. So I'm going to make it flat, not domed. And the original lens had a bunch of, I don't know what you want to call it, jimping, greebling, grooving on the inside to kind of hide the location of the bulb, make it look like the whole thing was lit up. These LEDs are so bloody bright, I don't think that's going to make a bit of difference, so I don't think I'm going to leave that out. Or I might just put a series of circles in it like I did with the rear lights. So let's start by clicking on Create a Sketch. I'm going to create it on this bottom plane. They call it the top because that's I consider that my print surface, and I'm going to start with a center diameter circle. I'm going to click in the center because that will lock it in, and I'm going to come diameter OD, and I'm going to hit enter to lock it in. And another thing, without the dome, the thing is going to hit the bulb, or it might. I don't have the bulbs yet. I just ordered the bulbs, a couple of the amber bulbs, so I can only go by the size and the shape of the stock glass incandescent bulbs. These new bulbs might be longer, but they probably are not as fat. But nonetheless, I'm going to throw in a extra height for this to get it up and away from the bulb. So I'm going to extrude this up my thickness. So I'm going to hit E to extrude. I'm going to click, whoops, I was already on it, E to extrude, and I'm going to come up thickness wall, because I think I'm going to use the same thickness for everything. I think I made that 3 millimeters. Enter to lock it in. Alright, so there is my base shape. That's the full width and the bottom face that is going to be the outer face of this thing. So now what I want to do is I want to bring up a section of this, and I can either do it in two parts, or I can do it in one and then cut the groove down in. And I think I'm going to do it the latter. So let's draw another circle. Let's create a sketch on this face here, and it's going to be another circle, of course, because everything in this is circles. And we are going to come out, and this is going to be diameter ID. I put that groove in there because that groove parameter in because I wasn't sure if I was going to use that or not, but I think I will. So now what I want to do is I'm going to, whoops, sorry, I'm banging the microphone with my hand because for some reason my face itches today. I don't know why. I don't know why I even said that. Anyway, so we're going to extrude this part up, and I threw in a diameter called height from body, and I think I made it 10 millimeters. Honestly, I'm not sure what I want it to be. Let's lock it in. And now what I need to do is I need to create a sketch on this surface, and I need to cut that groove down into it. And how am I going to do this? I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. Let's get the sketch on it, and let's create the circle on it. And groove diameter is not going to help me there, is it? Interesting. Okay, so you know what I think I'm going to do here? I think I'm going to use two circles, and I think I'm going to distance one from the outer edge, and I'm going to distance one with my groove distance. And I don't think my groove distance really matters here. I think my wall thickness is the only thing that matters. So let's do that. Let's say the heck with that groove parameter, and let's just use distance from the wall and my wall thickness. So we've created a sketch on this upper ring here. Let's create a center diameter circle. Let's bring it out here and hit it. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit escape to get rid of my circle tool, and I am going to hit, let's see if this works, D for dimension. I'm going to dimension from there to there, and that dimension wants to be wall thickness, or thickness wall. There we go, thickness wall, enter. And now I'm going to do it again. I'm going to hit escape to get rid of my dimension tool. I'm still on my sketch on that surface, that ring surface. I'm going to create another center diameter circle. I'm going to pull it out to there, and I'm going to get rid of my circle tool by hitting escape, and now I'm going to do D for dimension again, and let's dimension it from there to there. And we're going to also make this thickness wall. Let's see what that looks like, and enter. I think that's what I want. Well, wonders never cease. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is hit E to extrude or Q to press pull. Fusion will figure out which one we want to do. I want to cut this down, and this is what I don't have a parameter for. So I can go to this surface minus wall thickness. Is that what I should do? This surface minus wall thickness. Let's do that. Let's call it height from body minus thickness wall, because that way if I change a parameter I should get them anywhere. And this, okay, I goofed up. It wants to be minus thickness wall plus I got to do it backwards because it's a cut. Minus thickness minus height from body plus thickness wall. How about that? Let's see if that works. That wasn't confusing in the slightest, was it? Did that do what I want to do? I don't know. Let's say okay. And let's see what it looks like. Haha, what do you know? It did. So there's my basic shape. Now all I have to do is put in the screw holes. Or I could put some greebling in here if I wanted to. That might be fun to do. Let's get my screw holes in first, and I think I'm also going to put a fillet on this edge here. But let's get my screw holes in. And I put in a distance between the screw holes, but I didn't put in a distance from the edge. So you know what I need to do? I need to come back to modify and change parameters, and I need to get that screw spacing is 107 millimeters. So sorry, off the camera here, I'm going to get the calculator on my phone out. If I can find it. Calculator, where did you go? There's calculator. So what I'm going to do is 107 millimeters, and the entire diameter is 122. So 122 minus 107 is 15 divided by 2 is, that's not right. 122 minus, okay, why did that come out to some crazy number? That didn't do it all what I wanted. Let's let me try that again. 122 minus 107, we'll do it in steps since it's not doing what I want. That brings me 15. Oh, I did half of 15 is 7.5. So let's add my parameter. I should have been able to figure that out in my head, shouldn't I? Been a lot of years since high school for me. We're going to call this screw distance from edge. Is that right? I don't know if that's right or not, and we're going to call this 7.5. I don't know if that's right or not, but it'll be obvious when we do it if it's not. So what I want to do now is I'm going to draw on this surface. So create a sketch here. It's going to be another center diameter circle, and I may wind up having to put a construction line in here. See if it'll let me lock into this. And my circle is going to be screw hole, and enter. And now I'm going to hit D for dimension. I'm going to bring there and there, and I didn't get it. I didn't get that edge, did I? Still didn't get that edge. Okay, let's try again. D for dimension. Let's zoom in here. I want this edge here, and I want my center circle, and I have and it's doing it to the middle on me. Why is it doing it to the middle on? Oh, you know what? Maybe that's better. Maybe that's better. So let's go back to modify and change parameters. Let's get rid of this because I think that was a mistake. Whoops. Come on. Come on. I want to delete the whole thing. Come on. All right, well, let's leave it there. The heck with it. There we go. Now it's gone. So I think what I want to do, I'm going to take that, instead of going from the edge, I'm going to cut that screw spacing in half and go to the center, since that's telling me what I should be doing anyway. It's smarter than I am, which isn't all that tough to do. So let me get my calculator back up. What's half 107? 52.5? No, that's not right. 107 divided by 2. Pitiful. Pitiful 53.5. Pitiful. So let's add another parameter here. You know what I do? I don't even have to add the parameter in. I can do, let's do this. D for dimension, hole, center, and we're going to do screw spacing divided by 2 and enter. All right. Yay. All right, let's get it over here. Let's do the other one. I could mirror that to the other side, but to be honest with you, it's just not worth my trouble. So let's lock this into there. And I don't think they're actually locked in, but not too worried about it, be honest with you. And that is screw hole. And the reason why I'm doing this from scratch without, practicing it 2 or 3 times ahead of time is because some people have said to me, whenever I do this, I screw up constantly. How come you don't? And if you do, why can't we see you do it? So you're seeing me do it. Screw hole and D for dimension, center, and same thing as last time. Screw spacing divided by 2 and enter. Now, I don't believe they're see how they're still in blue? I don't believe they're locked in. See, I can move it up and down. I could make a construction line across there and lock that in, and I probably should, but visually, as long as it's visually on that line, I'm not that concerned about it. So in this case, I think I'm going to be lazy and I'm not going to lock it in. This is not a complex object. If one of them is off, I'm going to see it easily. So now we're going to hit Q or E, and we're going to bring all these all the way through. And we're going to come down. And how much are we going to come down? You guys know that I like to if you've watched my videos, you know that I like to be neat and tidy when I can, and I'm saying that just after I didn't do it on the screw holes. But let's say distance. Let's change distance to object, and the object wants to be this face because I need that screw hole to cut through my inner ring, and it does that on the stock one too. And okay, all right. See this little cut through the plastic? That's on the stock one too. Okay, so there's my part. I mean, I could print it out like this out of the clear filament, and I think it would be okay. Let's put some rings in here just for sport and amusement. So I am going to create a sketch on this surface. I am going to create. How am I going to do this? What's the way to do this? Boy, it sure would be nice to be able to do this. Now, you know what? Let's just do circles. And let's just do center diameter circles. And let's make this one 10. And I'm just gonna, 10's too small. 10's too small. 20. Enter. And I'm not gonna put parameters in for this. I'm way too lazy. And we're gonna go, let's go 20. Let's make them 3. 23. And circle. Let's go 30. Whoops. Let's go 30. 30 is too. 30's no good. Let's do Control Z to go back one. Okay. Let's do C for circle again, and let's go 40. And C for circle. 43. C for circle, just to break it up a little bit. And what was the distance I did? We're going to go 70 here. Was that the same distance? I don't think it was. Now I don't remember what I did. Let's get some of these around so I can see what they are. That's what you get when you just kind of throw stuff out. You don't remember what you did. Okay, I did 20, 40. Okay, so this one wants to be 60. So let's change that to 7 to a 6. And then I want to do circle again. And I'm going to do 63. And let's do circle again. And this one's going to be 80. And circle again. And this one's going to be 83. And my last one, 83. Enter. Okay, so now we're going to hit Q to push pull or E to extrude. We're going to do that one, that one, that one, and that one. And let's come up, and I didn't give this a dimension either. Let's come up 3. I think that's all it needs. Enter. That's way too much. Okay, let's go down here to my history. For those of you unfamiliar, this is every step you've done down here. You can come back into your timeline. You can move the timeline back to where you can see what it looked like before those last changes were made. So I'm going to pick out my last adjustment here, my last feature here, which was that extrusion. I'm going to click Edit Feature, and I'm going to change that 3 to a 2, and let's see what that looks like. I'm happier with that. I don't want to hit the bulb. I want them thick enough so that you can see them when the light comes on, but I don't want them to strike the bulb or cause me issues. So the only thing left I really want to do is put a fillet on this edge here. So we can click the modify and fillet, or we can click the fillet button, or we can just hit F. So fillet there. Let's try 5, and again, I didn't create a parameter for this. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I have to do it first. I have to put a hole for the screws to set into. And you know what? I only made that 3 millimeters. So, and you know what? The stock screws are probably going to be too short. Interesting. You know what I think I'm going to have to do? I think I'm going to have to make this in here thicker. Yeah, that's what I'm going to have to do. I wish I had a thought of that first, but I didn't. But you know what? We can still do it now. So I'm going to hit E to extrude. I am going to click this surface, and I am going to bring this up another. I made that 10, and I think if I remember right, the stock was 3. Let's bring this up another 4 millimeters. Okay. Oh, that's going to make it stand off an awful long way from the body. Will that really matter? Let me find the thing here. You know what? I think that won't matter at all, because the standard one fits over it with the gasket. You know what? There's going to be a gasket in there. So let's change this from 4. Let's change this to 2 and enter. And because I'm gonna make a gasket to fit in there, and I'm just gonna make a gasket that's just a ring with 2 holes in it, and I'm going to extrude it up 2 millimeters and print it out of the blue TPU that I did the grommet out of. So now I can come back to this side, and I am going to go back to my sketch from that side, which I believe was this one. It is. I'm going to edit that sketch, and now I'm going to hit C for circle, and I forgot to do this, and I called this screw head, didn't I? I did, and enter, and we're going to do it again over here. C for circle. We're going to come out, screw head, and enter, and now I am going to do Q to push pull or E to extrude. I think they both do the same things here, and I am going to cut this down. And did I make a parameter for this? I don't believe that I did. I'm just going to type it in here. I am going to come down. It was 3 and I added 2. So I'm going to make this 2 millimeters, and let's see what that looks like. right, why am I still seeing my sketch? I don't want to see my sketch there. There we go. Okay, I like that. That looks good. That's what I want. Now let's put that fillet on, fill it there. And I'm going to have to be now careful not to cut too far into that. So let's call it 3. Let's see if I can go back to 5. Yeah, I don't see why I can't do 5. 5 should be okay, don't you think? Yeah, maybe 5's a bit much. Let's call it 4. 4. Okay, 3 was not enough and 5 was too much, but 4 looks perfect. Let's print this out and let's see what we get. I'm going to take this over to my enclosed ender 3 that has the ABS in it. I think the black is in it now, but I will put I'll put the transparent in it, and we'll say okay to that. And before we go, we have to let's take it over to Cura first before we go. So let's give it a name up to my floppy disk icon, and Jeep front lens, let's call it that, and save. And now I'm going to right click on it and save as STL. We're going to say okay to that. You see how easy this stuff is to make? I'm going to save it in my Jeep taillight project folder just to keep all the Jeep stuff together for now. And let's go find it and let's get it into Cura. So I am using Ultimaker Cura 4.6.1. Watch, there'll be a new version of it. Please no. 4.6.1. Sorry, I'm banging my coffee cup into the microphone thing again. Into the little foam thing over the microphone. I'm either scratching my face or I'm drinking coffee. Come on, Cura, where are you? Swear to God, Borderlands 3 loads faster than Cura does. Okay, I love you, Ultimaker guys. Truly, I do. But sometimes I wonder. Okay, so we're going to say open file. It should open in my Jeep taillight because that's the last place I was in. And let's find the Jeep front lens, and open on version 0. That's what we look like. And that's what I think we're going to get. I'm pretty happy with that. We're going to go up here to Chuck ABS. Chuck ABS all metal hot end, that's the one I'm looking for. Infill grid, default is grid. I don't care what the infill is. I don't think there's going to be any infill in it. I'm going to try to avoid any infill in it. Make overhang printable. I'm going to discard all that. Layer height is 0.32 because I like stuff to print quick. I've got wall thickness. Let's slice it and let's take a look at it because this is something that is really good for people to know. 3-hour print. Let's do preview. I don't want infill in this if I can help it. I would like this to be solid because when you have tiny amounts of infill, your print head jerks back and forth like crazy, and that just drives me bonkers. So let's pull this down a little bit. And yeah, you see that? You see all that little infill in there? I want to get rid of that. So my line width is 0.5, and I made those 3. So what do I want? I want my wall thickness to be, let's make the wall thickness 1.5 and wall line count of 2. And let's slice that and let's see if I got rid of that infill. I didn't. It's still there. Why is it still there? I thought for sure I made those 3 millimeters. Wall thickness 1.5, wall line count 2. Shouldn't that give me no? How come I am still getting infill in there? I don't want infill in there. Let's up the wall line count then. Let's give it what it wants. Whatever it wants to do it, let's get that infill. There we go. Okay, that's what I want to see. I want to see, I know, even look, it cut the time down by almost 15 minutes because the print head's not going to be jerking around like crazy in there. So let's go up and down and look in the rest of it. I don't know why it came out like that. I'm sure it's something I'm being stupid about, but I have a little infill on the bottom, which I don't care about. I might actually up that. What's that set to? That is set to 20%. That's fine. Let's make it 30 and see what that looks like. Let's tighten that up a little bit. I like that better. We're back up to 3 hours, but that's fine. Print temperature, all that looks good. All that looks good. I always like to do the preview and look to make sure I'm not going to get anything that I don't want, like those thin walls having infill in them. I like that. I'm going to get the printer card over here. I'm going to save this. I'm going to get this printed, and when I'm done, I'll show you the results. Be right back. Okay, I'm back and I have a successfully printed part, and I'm telling you something, when I took this off the printer, I was so happy with it. Let me turn another light on here. That looks kind of dark. There we go. I was so happy with this when I first took it off the printer. I thought, oh my God, I have a version 1 part that is absolutely perfect. That does not happen every day. But then I went to put it on, and it doesn't fit. And no matter how much I pushed, and I could not make it fit. Once again, I forgot to take ABS shrink into account, and the part is a tiny bit too small. So, you know, some days you get the bear and other days the bear gets you. I went back into Fusion. I changed my parameters for inside and outside diameter by 2 millimeters on each one. And now we have a part that fits perfectly. And there's very little slop in it. I mean, it fits perfectly. The holes line up perfectly. Everything is nice about it. I printed a couple of different gaskets. Whoops, I'm making a mess here, as usual. I printed a number of different gaskets until I got this one, which is the one I want. I printed some different widths and things, but this is the one I want. And it fits in really, really nice. The lens fits on really, really nice. And what I do with the screws, here's the screws. Oops. And right now it comes fairly close to the stock incandescent bulb. And you can see there's still enough screws left out the back, because that's what also holds it on to the frame, are those screws. And right now I think there's easily enough left out the back to mount it. I made the gasket 1.5 millimeters thick. If it turns out to be too close to the bulb, I could, let me get the other lens back over here, I could extrude this inner surface up. I could extrude it up, or I could just make the gasket thicker, and I think the latter is what I would do. I would just make the gasket thicker. I have the power supply here. Let's connect it up and let's see what it looks like. So let's get the power supply over a little closer, because my leads are really short and I need to connect the ground to the body of the housing, because that's how Jeep in their wisdom decided to make this work. All right, let me flip the power on. I got to be careful not to short it, because when I short it, it takes about 5 minutes to reset. So there is, that's the super bright, that's the turn signal. And then this one over here, I can't really see what I'm doing here. This one here, that's the turn signal. And this other pin that I can't seem to locate, there we go, that's just the parking lights. So just for sport and amusement, let's compare it to the stock lens and let's see what the difference looks like. But I'm very happy with this. I should have the LED bulb in a couple of days, and then I will make sure that all my distances are okay. And then I'll print the other setup for the other side. And I am just going to stick one screw in here real quick so we can hook it up. And where's my hot? There's my hot. And here's what the stock one looks like. It's probably going to swamp the camera out, so you're probably not going to see. That is the that is typically what it looks like with that rough lines and swells on the inside. And then the super bright one. Oh, that is bright. That incandescent bulb is bright, but I think the LED bulb is even brighter. So there you have it. This is going to be my new front turn signals for my old CJ7. And somebody in one of my previous videos commented and said it's nice to see somebody using 3D printed parts for real world things instead of just making Yoda statues. And I agree. You know, every now and again making statues of stuff is fun. I had a blast making the Fallout 4 bobblehead and the giant Hulk thing. But for the most part, I really enjoy making real world, usable, functional things. And when you think that I went from holding this in my hand to holding this in my hand in 3 hours without ever leaving my little home office, that's pretty impressive to me. And that's it. Let's take one more look at it before we go. And then when I get the LED bulbs, I'll make sure that it's right. I'll print the other two. We'll mount them on the Jeep and we'll see what they look like. So I just can't find those tabs in there for anything. There we go. There we go. Oh, my hand's in the way. There we go. So I am very pleased with that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, hit notifications, and I'll be back with the mounted on the Jeep with the LED bulbs in it in a few days. Have a good weekend and take care. Bye for now.